Hey there, it's Will. Now, because of the nature of our show, sometimes technology decides to play rough with us. And this includes the episode you're about to listen to. Because our guest is so connected to Spirit, Seems Spirit thought it'd be fun to force us to use a different recording platform than the one we usually use. You know, the one that gives us the very best audio quality you've come to expect from us. So at some points in this interview, you may notice some audio clipping that comes from the fact that we recorded this on the public internet instead of on our preferred platform. We feel it's still great content that we wanted you to have, so we're releasing it here for you as is. Thanks for being a listener, and we hope that you enjoy the episode.
Karen?
Yes.
We have got to chat with some absolutely amazing teachers in the metaphysics and spiritual space over the last year and a half.
We sure have.
And we've even experienced some astounding modalities, and we've learned a lot.
We have.
Yeah. Guess what?
What?
We're only just getting started. On today's show, we have an opportunity to welcome one of my absolute favorite people in the world, who just so happens to be one of the most amazing spiritual teachers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it works out really well.
Well, I'm excited because you have talked about her so much.
Yeah, and you finally get a chance to meet her.
Finally.
I'm excited for that as well. However, we almost lost her twice. Yeah, we almost lost her twice. And she's here today to share the story of her second near-death experience with us.
Wow.
And she's going to help us understand that the power is truly within us.
Perfect.
I mean, she's so hard to pin down because she knows so much about so much, but I can promise you that over the next 40 minutes or so, you are going to be amazed.
I'm looking forward to it.
My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Welcome to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And if you're a regular listener, you already know Leora Leon. You've heard her first interview from way back when we first got started. Then you heard her again when she so graciously gifted me with a past life regression session. Well, she's back again today to share some more eye-opening wisdom with us from her latest book, which was just released, The Power's in You. Welcome to the show, Leora Leon.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be on and to meet Karen, and thank you.
It's always a thrill to have you on the show, Leora. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come talk to us again. Now,
Great. You know, I owe Karen a past life regression
Ooh,
because I gave
would
you
love
one, right? So I will give her one if she wants.
I would love that so much. Thank you.
well, it's going to be interesting now too, because we've expanded. We've learned so much since the time you gave me my regression. I'm really curious to see what kind of things Karen comes out with. So we definitely need to do that.
Maybe I'll share them with you, Will. Maybe not.
I think our audience wants to hear it. Leora, we know that you're here to promote your book, but recently something happened to you. You had your second near-death experience, right? Tell us
Right.
about that.
Well, the first one I told you about, I was young and I had a boating accident. I was underwater, left my body for over 20 minutes. And I just downloaded the entire multiverse information without knowing what it was. And then that changed the course of my life. And so I talked to a lot of experts and, people didn't believe that I'd been out of the body underwater for 20 minutes. And this one expert, Lynn K. Russell, she said that, people had been out and clinically certified that they had been dead for 48 hours in the morgue and came back to life. So she said, 20 minutes is nothing, Leora. So
Wow.
I was
Wow.
like,
Nothing to you,
Thank
maybe.
yeah, right? Because I guess it's pretty painful coming back in after you've been out for so long. But I had been going in April, I had been going through a very serious situation that left me devastated. And I was having a really difficult time getting through it. And everything that I teach, I was doing, of course, but I kept going in and out of depression. And I seemed like I couldn't get through it no matter what I did. And so my daughter and I and some friends, we went to Italy And we got back from Italy, and the long trip, like it's like 24 hours of flying and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 days after I get back, probably still jet lagged and everything, I like to hike. And I said to my daughter, let's go hiking, because that's what we do on Saturdays. And she's like, all right. So we go to Griffith Park, and there's the old zoo that they have there. It's really beautiful. And it was a hot day, like 91, and it's near Pasadena. So if you know Pasadena weather, it's just baking, baking hot. And I don't like hot. The older you get, you don't like hot weather for some reason. But anyhow, it kept getting hotter and hotter. And, she and I were talking about the situation I was in, and I was just really, really upset, and I couldn't get through it. And so I'm going up the hill and stopping and breathing and drinking water and going up further. And I like, you know what? We get up so far, and I said, I have to sit down, Nick. And she's like, okay. So I sit down, and I'm using my Apple Watch, my blood pressure's fine and everything. And I'm like, okay. So I was feeling better, and I said, okay, I'm going to get up. And so I go, help me up. And so she grabs my hand and pulls me up. And all of a sudden, everything starts to close in. And I go, I'm going down. And boom, the next minute I knew I'm out of my body. And I'm at peace. And I'm so happy. And I knew I had just died. And I didn't care. I didn't care that I left behind my daughter. I didn't care that anything. I was so relieved to get out of this lifetime that I was happy. And far off in the distance, I could hear screaming, like, Mom, Mom, like really loud screaming. And a voice told me, they said, your daughter cannot handle it now if you die. And I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden I went, whoosh, and I went right back into my body. And I come back in, I'm like, what, is there a bug on me? And she's like, Mom, you were seizing. So I was having a literal seizure. My eyes were bugged out, my tongue was out, and I was shaking. And I thought I had just passed out when I came back in. So I told her what happened, and she's all angry because, you're not going hiking ever again. And yeah. And I'm like, let's just go down the hill. And so we get down the hill, and I had a headache, and I knew it was probably heat stroke, right? Because I looked it up later, and you can have a seizure from heat stroke. And I'm assuming that that's what it was. And that night I had a headache. And so I took, like a Imitrex or Motrin or something. And I wasn't worried because I knew what it was. I knew that I had died and I had come back. So I knew it was a wake-up call. And so that night I went to bed. I get up in the morning, and my life shifted. All of the stress that I had been under was irrelevant. All of a sudden, I was like, I know what I'm going to do. A, B, C, D, E. And I was like, thank you. Then I just started to live my life and enjoy my life and be really, really happy. And I think that I'm at a point spiritually, or whatever you want to say, where my guides, it's almost like I have, who's the wizard in Harry Potter, the great one. Yeah. I've got him up, it's actually me. That's our divine self. It's always talking to you. And now it's like, look, if you don't get out of this crap of 3 months of depression, we're going to knock you out, and we're going to make you realize what you're doing in your life. And that's actually what happened. And since then, I have been in this different space, a space of living what my book is about, right? And to tell you how funny, I'm so connected now to my divine self, which we all are. We're all driven by our divine self. It's a matter of how aware we are of that divine energy. And it's all of us, taking us down our path. I was at the races in the horse races in San Diego. Some high school friends came up when we went to the races, and I kept losing. I'm down like $150, and I'm like, oh, geez, I kept picking these, who knew what I was picking. And so I saw this, my eyes kept darting toward this one called Zimbabwe. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. Zimbabwe, no. And so I go up to the window, and Zimbabwe was like 3. So I picked 4 and 5, and I said, I don't want that. And I get up to the window, and I get my ticket, Zimbabwe. And I do across the board, like $5 across the board, right? So I get the first, second, and third. And so then I got number 4 too. Zimbabwe won. So I'm like, all these things have been happening where my divine self is kind of sick of me. And it's like saying, we're going to start showing you where to go. Right. So that's kind of
We
like the
can't leave
whole
you up
thing.
to your own devices. We got to show you. We gotta-
Anymore. No. We've had it with you. I've had it with you. So, but those things have been happening, and it's really, I'm in a really good place now because I remembered who I am. I remember who we are out of this physical body. And, I listened a lot to Dolores Cannon now. When I have free time, I'll just, wash the dishes and listen to her. And she's so amazing. And she talks about all these things that I had been talking about channeling that I didn't even know when she existed. And we're all here to be on our divine path. People, all of these entities race to get to Earth so that they can go through the physical experience. And when we're spiritual beings, we're like, give it all to me. Give me everything. I can do it. And they're like, nah, I don't think so. Yep, just give it all. And then you come into the physical reality and you're like, holy crap. And then somewhere along the line, you wake up and you realize, okay, I asked for it. Everything that has been in my life, I asked for. And it's really, it's fun. It gets to be like you create your reality. And when you take responsibility for everything in your life that happens, this bad thing that happened to me, I don't want to discuss it because not a lot of people know, but I asked for it, but I didn't ask for it the way it happened. Right? But it happened. And so we ask for things. We have to be really clear when we talk to our higher selves, and our guides and all that. This is what I want. This is, be very specific.
So what's that
Go
phrase? Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So, so it's, I talked to Lynn K. Russell after this happened and I said, Lynn, I had another near-death experience. And she goes, oh, that's no big deal. People have them all the time. Like once you have one, you're prone to have it over and over again. Oh. And I'm like, wow. And I'll have to find this woman for you to have you bring her on the show, but she's had 8. So a lot of people, there's people, I'll find her name and get her for you so that you can have her on the show.
So what you're saying is that near-death experiences is like a tattoo. Like you can't just have one.
Right. Who knew? Yeah. Who knew?
They're addictive.
But I know that it changes you. It gives you a perspective, and they come at a time when you're at a crossroads. And then you realize we're like, oh, and it's kind of your higher self, the multiverse saying, look this is the way it is. You don't need to be so stressed. You don't need to be so down. Take this path. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've got so many questions.
Go ahead.
We just went through a lot of stuff. But before I get jumping into that, I got to ask Karen, because as Leora was sharing her experience, I watched you and you were having a hard time. I saw you tearing up. It affected you. What happened?
When she said that her daughter wasn't ready for it, for whatever reason, I just felt like just this very strong feeling. And that just, it shook me a little bit. Because I can imagine what she felt like thinking she's losing her mom. And then as a mother thinking your daughter's having a hard time losing you. There's it's a two-way street, but then another part of you just wanting to go. That's very
and
complex.
You're given those options all the time. Like the first one, they told me all of a sudden this voice came in after they showed me all of these things in the multiverse. And they said, your body can't sustain under the water anymore. It's you either have to go or go into the light. And I said, well, what do I do? And they said, it's up to you. So at that second time, it was up to me too. And, she's getting married next year. And, she lost her brother 2 years ago, my son. And so it's been a really difficult time for her. So I knew I needed to do one more mother thing that was important for her.
So I suppose that what you're doing now is we never know where we're going to go. So I'm sure you're probably trying to get her in a better space so that if God forbid something happens, she's more prepared.
Yeah.
You mentioned something else while you were talking. You said that we raced to this birth for this experience. Isn't there someone out there that can kick us in the head and make us get to our real right? Who would want to do this? Like who would want to come here specifically to experience these hardships just so we can say, what?
Been there, done that.
That's it. Did there, done that.
Been there, done that, Will. Been there.
Right. Well, I guess for we are all part of the divine when we're out of the physical reality. We are all God, the whole God force. That's who we are. And we're just at different levels of understanding. But from what I understand, when we're in the spirit world and we've had, a long time, either at, a stationary planet that we come before we go into a incarnational existence, or up in the divine, it becomes where we want to come back in. And it's almost like us watching a movie. So it's kind of like entertaining for us as spirits, because as spirits, we can handle anything. But when we get into the physical, that's why we wake up. That's why we have to realize that we're in it. We're in the driver's seat and we're controlling everything, and we can have the life we want because it's all energy.
So basically, you're saying that spirits are masochists.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it?
Sometimes, right? Daredevils.
So you recently released your book, The Powers in You, and I assume that your near-death experience, there it is, it's a beautiful cover. Did your near-death experience motivate you writing this book, or are the messages in the book specifically from that?
No, well, there's part of it, but this book is it's a collection of all of my life experience and all of my metaphysical experiences, everything included. And, I had talked before, the life that I had was super, super difficult. And, 2 years ago, I thought, my son died, and I thought, well, that'll be the end of it. It won't be so bad anymore. And then this other thing happened and just devastated me. And um, it's a collection of how to understand who we are and why we're here. And, people go to healers, which is great. I'm a healer. People go all over to try to get this fix, make me feel better, and you release. So what we're here to do is to evolve to the point where we wake up and we start to realize who we are out of this physical body. And when that happens, then we can start to manipulate, and there we go again, we can start to manipulate our life and create the life that we want, because it's all based on energy. The whole concept of what we are, we're in the divine, we come down, we get ready for a physical existence. And there's millions of physical existences, incarnational planets throughout the multiverse. Earth is not just one. There are many. We're one of the human ones, and there's other human ones, but there's other different species that are incarnational, on other planets. But we come down here, and we and I told you this before, we start out somewhere like a caveman, end up somewhere like Gandhi, and in the middle, we wake up and we start to realize who we are, why we're here, and then change our life and learn how to, I don't want to say manipulate, that's not a correct term, but we learn how to create the life that we desire so that we can have a happy life. Buddha says that everything that happens has nothing attached to it. Every action is benign. Everything that we attach to it is where the pain and suffering comes in. When someone dies, it's a benign action. And they're off, they're happy, just like I was out of the body. I'm like, I'm ready to go. And for us, it's devastating. Those are emotions that we attach to everything. So in my book, what I do is I give you all of the information from the quantum mechanics, how the brain works. I talk about why we are the way we are. Did it come from our childhood? Did it come from another life? We're carrying this energy. Everything is energy. So I teach you how. I plant these little seeds in your head and in your subconscious so that you are constantly thinking about what this book is about and how I can change my life. And people used to ask me, what is self-love? And I knew what it was, but I didn't know how to explain it. But since I wrote the book, I understand now that it is the optimization of body, mind, spirit, thoughts, words, and actions. So being in the optimization of your body, meaning being healthy, working out, doing everything that you can to optimize your body's performance. Next is the mind, where you're reading uplifting, material, watching podcasts like your podcast. then meditating spiritually. And then thoughts, words, and actions, you're utilizing what you know to stay in the vibration of love, your actions, instead of flipping somebody off when they cut you off. You're like, okay, dude, go ahead. You're, you're in a different frame. Words have such radical vibration. They can hurt you like a knife. And then thoughts. And we have 82,000 thoughts or more a day. Controlling those and making sure that every single thought is in the vibration of love. So all of that is the vibration of love, optimizing every area of your life, those 6. So that's an equation that I came up with. Optimization of body, mind, spirit, thoughts, words, and actions equal self-love.
So you talked about this first near-death experience, or I guess death experience, because you were under for 20 minutes. And we've heard that from a lot of people that they interview. They've had this big event in their life. Something has happened and then they have this awakening. Do you think an event sort of thing is necessary in order to start that awakening? Or some people, is it easier for some people? What are your thoughts on that?
It seems to me that would be, for me, understanding that is, it has to be an event, being human and the way we look at things. And it gives us that opportunity to jump out rather than just to be, walking along, cooking your macaroni and you're out, and I mean, it could happen that way too. I don't know. But it just seems like an event like that gives us the opportunity to get out of the body easier.
Because you hear about people that as a child were able to kind of see this or understand this more. So maybe, how does it's confusing.
Well, kids, like I'm sure that when you are walking down the street and you see this little kid and it looks at you and just like penetrates, like their kids are powerful, especially nowadays. They're so jacked up on these new type of tweaks that the aliens have done to us. So they're awake. Like people are being born awake and they're powerful, and they're still connected. I have a friend, her grandson is 4 years old and now he's starting to forget, but he's like, Grandma, I used to be married to Matilda. And she's like, who's Matilda? He goes, in my other life, I was married to her. So he knew his whole other life. And then now it's slipping away as he gets older. But they're in tune. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, but you said something that I can't just let go, just dropped it as if nothing. But you said something about aliens. Are they currently tweaking us as we speak? I mean, you said
yes, absolutely.
Is that what the abduction experience is, or is it before we are born? How? Like what? Huh? What?
And I don't think it's an abduction. I think rather it's an agreement that you go along with them. So. And if you look, and this is so backed up by science, anthropology, it's funny, I have known this because they showed me, but Dolores Cannon talks about it too. And when she would do past life regressions on people, the higher vibrational beings will come in and say, this is what we're doing. But what I know and what she confirms is that, planets were created and they wanted a human, or they wanted a form, a being that could incarnate, but that could survive and grow and become more powerful and all knowing. And if you look at, is it anthropology where they dig up, what's that when they dig things up? Archaeology. Well, they're digging up small little bodies, big gigantic bodies. These were all tests. And if you go through Egyptian history too, you see humans that had an animal brain and all of, like, if you watch, what is it called? Alien, what's the show? It's Ancient Aliens. And they tell you everything. And I mean, this is all confirming everything that I know, but they wanted to find a being that could do the incarnational journey. And the reason behind it that I know and that I was shown by people that I would channel is the incarnational being. Every time they raise their vibration, there's a byproduct of that raising your vibration. And do you know what that is?
I want to say spam.
What'd you say?
It's spam.
What?
Is it spam?
Spam?
Yeah. the byproduct, right? I'm just thinking, what's the product?
Oh my God. I thought we were going to
Is
make
it
it
this-
through one.
No way, Jose.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I watch his posts on Facebook all the time. I mean, they're great. I
I
swear.
live his posts. It's not that great.
Bravo.
Hey, I
Bravo.
keep things interesting. You got to at least
That's
admit
right.
Interesting. Absolutely.
that. So no, what is the byproduct?
The byproduct is love.
I like
So
that.
every time
byproduct.
you raise your vibration, every time you make a choice to be a better person, there is an energy factor that is excreted, and that is love. And the purpose of the multiverse is to stay in the balance of love. So that's why we were created. We were created, and all of the other planets like us, so that we're actually miners of love. And that's, we're all divine beings, and the earth and the multiverse has been around so many years, trillions and trillions. I don't even know what goes beyond trillions, but we're just these little, young people, young kids. We're like kindergarten, and we're learning how to do it. But that's what they want. They want planets where the incarnational beings will grow and evolve and eventually become loving entities true to their divine self.
I love that. She's totally speaking my language.
Yeah.
All about the love.
Let's get back to your book, because I love going off the rails, but we need to go back because I've got an entire list of questions. I've got to get through at least two of them. The book actually teaches you about the science behind metaphysics, right? And the workings of the multiverse. And we've touched on it a little bit, but can you give us a little bit more into that?
Well, in 2012, scientists discovered the God particle, the boson-Higgs particle. So in 2012 was actually a huge spiritual awakening. That's kind of when I really went down, the rabbit hole. But that, by scientists that don't believe in God and they don't believe in a lot of things other than just science, said so much. And this God particle is in every human, every animal, every plant, everything that is on the planet has the God particle. So that's part of the quantum mechanics, that we understand that we are all one living, breathing entity, the earth, unfortunately. And I think fortunately now we're starting to shift with this new generation of kids who are crazy about saving our planet. And by the way, did you hear what the guy that owns Patagonia did? Donated $3 billion. So all of his profits per year, they're like $3 billion, donated it all to planet Earth.
Wow.
So the shift is happening. We are changing.
God.
We are becoming this planet. So we are finding out who we are. We are these divine beings. And I was told a long time ago by the people that, I would channel, that the Earth is trying to get rid of our parasites through what's happening with global warming. And then the people would say, well, who are the parasites? And we are the parasites. We are the ones that are, shifting the planet. Look what we've done in 150 years from the Industrial Revolution. We have, in 150 years, what we have done to planet Earth. I mean, it's mind-boggling. There's been around millions and billions of years. But so those are the things that I teach, because I want them to understand. I want them to understand religion and where you are in your religious beliefs. And religion is a man-made vehicle. So, the Medicis, they wanted, money. They wanted to put fear into people. So those are some of the things in the book that I talk about. I talk about meditation. I talk about the energy zones of the body and how we are pure energy. And that's why when I talk about words being so hurtful, because everything carries energy, and any kind of negative energy that comes at you is painful, physical, but words are really severe. So I talk about the energy in words, energy in the body. I talk about how important meditation is. Having a son with severe autism and bipolar for 25 years, it was, nobody can even people say, oh, I work, 60, 80 hours. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. And I worked those hours when I was in corporate, but taking care of a child 24/7 nonstop, that's why I started writing, because I could do it and I could leave and go be with him. But If I didn't meditate, if I didn't connect to that source, to pull that energy down to help me, I never would have made it. And Brandon even knew in the beginning he wouldn't let me, and he'd pound at the door and I would just ignore him. But later on, when I'd have a stressful day, he'd take me by the hand and take me to my room and say, Mom, close your eyes. Because he knew what it did. So these superpowers that we have, meditation is and I'm not talking gardening. I'm not talking about walking. Walking meditations are good, but we're talking about the meditation where your body is shut down, your mind is shut down, and you are connecting to who you really are, the divine.
Become you, become yourself, and true self.
Yeah. And just, the things that we feed ourselves, our bodies. And so, I had stage 3 breast cancer. Then I had the fake boobs put on. Then I had to have them taken off. And I had breast implant illness, so an autoimmune. And I've had to, be a female without having breasts, which has been super difficult. But it was one of these challenges that I took on. And of course, I put that in. So I learned to, and it's so interesting because I always took care of myself, but I ate a lot of meat and everything. But I learned how to optimize my body. So I take supplements, I juice, I work out to the extent now it's different because I go walking 3 times a week and then I hike on the weekends. So everything's kind of shifted with my age, but I take care of my body. I optimize my body and my mind, what I bring in, listening to your podcast, listening to the people that, are in the know, listening to that information is amazing. I try to, that's what's in my book, is that you have control of every single thing in your life. And then you can start controlling when you have your thoughts to where they're staying in the vibration of love and they're staying in abundance. You can bring everything to you. And that's the way it works. And that's in the book. And I teach you how to do it.
I can't wait to read that book.
I'm going to send you guys. You have to give me your address. I'll send you a couple copies.
That's
so you can each have your own.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. Yeah, definitely, because it's a workbook, right? So we're going to have to kind of write.
And you know what? It's so easy to think about it is because people nowadays have ADHD, right? Yeah. They can't focus for more than 2 minutes. So this is one chapter. Then we go on to another chapter that has 3 paragraphs. So, I mean, there's not a chapter in there that has more than 4 or 5 paragraphs. And then at the end, it has questions. And then at the end, it has the journal. So you start out in the morning, and at night, you write all the things you want to do, body, mind, spirit, thoughts, words, and actions. And then in the morning, you get up and you do your alignment, your 3-minute alignment, connecting to the divine, connecting to the earth, protecting, and then think about what you're grateful for. And then think about who you love, and boom, you're ready to start your day.
That's amazing. I mean, the book from what I read really kind of gives you a step by step, right? You can go at your own pace. It really gives you step by step on how to find the power inside you. That's fantastic. This is all great. We're talking about wonderful things, but with the world nowadays, it's really divided. Right? So some of us are actively looking to move into the 5D space. Others are kind of digging in their heels and saying, not, over my dead body kind of thing. So it's causing some serious ruptures in our culture, in our society. How can those of us who are trying to better ourselves and our human experience help to bring those along that maybe aren't choosing really to see the truth? We can't. You're saying, shaking your head that we can't. That makes sense.
Everybody is at their level of understanding. And when you come to that realization, you can never change anyone. You can only change yourself. And people will drop off out of your life. People, when they're at a level of understanding, no matter what you say, how you format it, they just don't get it. And so stop trying. I've stopped trying to, fix people because it doesn't work. I fix people on a broad level. If they want to be fixed, they come to me and then I give them information. But you cannot change anybody. And that's one of the things. Remember how I said we start out as cavemen and end up as Gandhi? Everybody's at their level of understanding. So you cannot and you can't be angry at them because that's part of the whole collective. You have to accept them, not judge them, and love them like you love yourself. And that's the only way you can deal with it. You are going to go into your, fifth element happily and understanding and being loving and non-judgmental with these people, because it's just a level of understanding.
So, well, it seems like those people will never have an awakening. And I mean, does everybody go through it, or is that the reincarnation? You keep coming back until you wake up? So in
That's
that case,
exactly-
you don't choose to come back?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Karen. I mean, Hitler was one of those people, and, I'm sure he's come back and, regretted it and lived a really horrible life to delete that karma. So we just keep evolving. All of us, all three of us right now, we have been murderers, rapists. We have gone through a bunch of lifetimes and we're like, I would never do that. In this life, you wouldn't. But in other lives you have. And because now you awaken at one point, and that's when you start to shift. So we've all been that. We've all been the bad guy. And now we're lucky enough to be the good guy.
So you mentioned earlier past life regression. Should I be afraid?
No,
I don't know if
not
I
at
want to
all.
find out something that was horrible.
No. But you know what? And you know what? Your energy is beautiful. You have this really loving energy, and I feel your acceptance, and and it's just really easy. You are given what correlates with this life, and the people in your life now, you'll be given lives possibly with them. So it's given what you need to understand for this particular lifetime. Yeah, so don't be afraid, and we'll do another one if you want to for you too, so that because now you're at a different level, so other things will come up too, right?
Leora, she actually just started meditating with me in the mornings, which has been wonderful. And she has made like these massive leaps in just a few times that she's done it. Something remarkable happened today that we're going to have to record a session about because it was so inspiring that we do need to talk about it at some point, but it really helped show her the power of meditation to open herself up to the universal messaging. It was astounding. So we need to get you really meditating, Karen, so that you are in
I
the space.
see that in her. She's got that energy where she's open. It's like a baby just going, whoa, and you're open. And so now is when the cool stuff starts to happen. When you start, having all of the,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We'll have to tell her.
Yeah. I am not jealous at all.
No, and don't be jealous. You
Not
know
at
why?
all.
Because you're going to go beyond, and you'll have the more, like in the beginning, rapid fire, all these things start happening.
I've been meditating for 2 years, Leora, and she
That's
gets
okay.
3 days and she gets the thing. What? No, fair. Where's the fairness?
It's not fair. I know.
I'm a fast learner.
Yeah. And that's, the level that she's at. She's on this, there are some and that's what happened to me. The minute that I woke up, I was like, I want to know everything. Just give it all to me and let me experience. I wanted to touch on one thing that's important about my book. And, people nowadays, I guess I've always wanted, that's why the pharmaceutical industry is so big, but people want a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
They're lazy. They don't want to do the work. They just, if it comes to where, I don't know, I know I shouldn't, you have to want to get there. You have to want to do the work. You can go to people and get healed, and you can go here and get healed, but you're going to keep coming back, and you're going to keep coming back. You have to start to do the work yourself. And you start out with baby steps, just little tiny things. But then what this book does is plant the seeds. So you keep awakening. All the work that you've been doing, Karen, with Will is been planting seeds in your head. And that's why you're having these huge, gigantic things happen, because these seeds have been planted, and you're like, I'm ready. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You'd think I'd have a forest in my backyard. I got a little sprout. I got nothing. No, that's not true. How about you?
Yeah, that's not something to brag about, Will.
Yeah. Let me mark this.
Spam.
Yeah. Nice. Hey,
I liked her.
I see the jokes on this show, Leora. I see.
Oh, those are jokes?
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
Leora, this time has flown by. I knew that it would because you are one of my absolute favorite people. I'm so thrilled every time we get a chance to talk. Thank you again so much for the gracious offer of the past life regression.
Thank you.
Fantastic. If someone wanted to order the book, I know that it's on Amazon. It's also something we didn't talk about. It's actually been translated, right, to Polish, Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, into Spanish and Polish. And I am going to Poland. I'm having a weekend conference where I do everything out of the book. And then after that week, I'm going to be doing the individuals. But yeah, they're flying me in and I'm going to do a whole thing, about the power. They're really receptive over there. They have started their spiritual awakening and they're just hungry for stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the Polish people are wonderful.
Wow.
It's so exciting.
We look forward to seeing the postcard.
Yeah.
You got it. And if you guys want to come out to California, you're welcome to stay at my house. So
Thank you.
you have a place to stay.
Be careful what you would say. Because we're
That's
the kind of
okay.
people
I
that
know.
might
I'm good.
We are.
Well, your book, The Power Within You, is on Amazon. We'll add a direct link to that in our show notes. So if you're listening to this on the radio, just go to skepticmetaphysician.com, go to Leora Leon's episode, and in there you'll find a direct link. You can just click it and be connected directly to it, along with all of her other information, socials, websites, etc. Leora, thank you so much. Such a wonderful time spending time with you.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you again
Thank
soon.
you both. You're amazing.
Oh,
likewise. Yeah.
And thank you for coming along on this journey of discovery with us. If you know someone that would benefit from hearing the messages we shared on this episode or any of our others, we'd really love it if you would do them a favor and share the show with them. Super easy, and you might just help change someone's life. And if you're listening to this on the radio and you missed something, don't worry. All of our shows, including this one, can be found at skepticmetaphysician.com. We can watch the videos there, or even connect with us by sending us an email or a voicemail directly from the site. We absolutely love the feedback and would appreciate hearing from you as well. Well, we hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. That's all for now, but we'll see you on the next episode of The Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.